Today I want to tell you about a brand new measuring tool. To us, it's been around for about 4 years, but it is amazing. If you want to hear about a tool that will speed up your estimates, speed up your landscape production, stick around. I'm going to show you it now. Okay, so the tool I'm going to talk to you about today is the zip level. This thing has been amazing. I wanted to make this change in the early spring, and some of the people we had working for us were so used to a laser level that that's what they wanted to go with. But so as time went on, later in the year, I was able to get a zip level. I was able to get it out in the field. I was able to use it for some estimates. And this tool, so we ended up with a Pro 2000 series. That's the one that has a 100-foot cable, so you can do 200 foot if you sit it in the center. So it's not long distance like a transit or a laser level can be, but for landscaping needs, it is amazing. It is so much faster, you know, especially for an estimate. Instead of setting up the tripod and the spinner head, the laser head, and then getting your staff and your reader and having to set all of this up to go find, say if you're wanting to do an estimate and you really want to know how tall the retaining wall needed to be, you don't have to set that stuff up. You set this thing on the ground, you run out the string, you go to your lowest point, your highest point, whatever you want to zero off of, zero, and then walk to your other point. You don't need all of the stuff. You can carry it all easily in your hand. I'm gonna go over, I'm gonna do a little brief overview of how that works. I'm also gonna put up the specification list and the PDF for the manual. I'm gonna link some of that stuff as well so you guys can get a look at this thing. Guys, it's been game changing. Our guys love it, I love it. I wanna have more of them. The biggest thing is, it is, like all measuring tools, they are fairly expensive. I think this model was right around $1,100, maybe right around just under, maybe just at like $1,000. But you know, there are some things like the gas line, it's filled, so it's not just a wire. If you run over there and cut that, you know, that's a big deal. It's gonna ruin this for you. It's gonna take away all the advantage you had like that. But this tool gives you the speed at measurement, and then when you're out on a job site, the speed of getting your base for like a retaining wall or a patio or setting your initial points, it makes it so quick. And when you don't have you know, we didn't even have a laser with like a slope feature, so it would not calculate for runoff of a patio. When you have a laser that is that basic, this thing completely kills it. That is one advantage I like over some of the lasers that have like a dual slope, so it can figure contours in the ground and it can calculate that for you when you're going out there with your staff. That's a huge upside. But for most patio builds you do, you don't need that. You know that at every 10 feet, whatever your drop's gonna be, 1.5 inches or whatever that number comes out to be for your specific build, you can just figure that. So you start at 0, right where it's gonna start, and you know that out at the end it's gotta be -1, -4, whatever the number is. And you just draw yourself a little map and you build it to those specifications. But it's a game changer. It's made it so much quicker for retaining walls. I mean, getting the measurements done and not have to screw around with the staff, as well as get everything else set up. If you're wanting to check your fill as you go really quick and get an idea of where that's at, it's super easy for that. I mean, it's so versatile and so quick. It's the speed. I'm not as versed on these points, but I know the other things it will do because we've only used it for measuring so far. But it can also calculate the size of a pile of dirt. You can take cross measurements over it, and then you can measure all the way up and over the top and cross it all the way up and over the top from what I get from the instructions. And it would also calculate estimated fill for a hole, which can be very, very useful. The purpose built of this tool, I mean, it's just so versatile. So that was one of the cool features. It'll also do a terrain map. So it will allow you to take and mark, I think, 130 points is what it actually lets you mark, but if it's hooked up to a computer, it's an endless amount. So you could make a grade map of a property. If you're gonna do a landscape project, you can have it all set up. You could put that grade map into a design program, so now you have the true grade for if you were doing a 3D design. I'm just spitballing all the creative ideas you can do with this thing and how it stores that. The other thing is if you're doing concrete, and you've got some rough texture underneath, and you're gonna order your concrete for the next day, and say it's overdug here and underdug here and whatever the case is, you can take marks throughout that whole thing and it'll average it all, and it'll give you the calculation for the fill for a slab, so many different things. But let's jump into it. Let's take a look at this thing. I'll show you just the basic measuring functions. There's a lot more to it, but the measuring is what everybody loves. And you can take the tripod off, you can set the block however you want to do it. But let's go over the measuring and some of the other things, and then we'll get back at it.
Okay, so this tool is amazing. I really wanted to take some time to show you what this thing can do. It's got multiple different things it can do, but I want to show you the most basic function it has. So instead of using a laser level, having to have a stick with a measuring device on it and multiple different pieces, all we have to do is have this wand, and we just hit 0 until it zeroes out. And now we can go from this point, and you'll see, you got to make sure it zeroes out just right where you're at. And any leaning can screw it up, so you want to try to keep it straight. But so with that being said, that's the same way a wand works with a laser level system. That being said, now we can go from this point and go over here to this mower deck. If you follow me over here and look at this, and we can see that it is 9 inches higher. This gives you an instant reading of where we're at, what level it is, and this thing will read the thickness of a business card. So the amount of time savings, so now we can just go up to one little higher spot and it registers that. And we can make such quick readings. When it actually settles, it will beep to tell you it's hit its point. But such a fast tool. And basically the Pro version, this one right here, I think it's the 2000, it's got a 100-foot cord. So it can work in a 200-foot circle. And then the other one, I believe, has a 50-foot cord. So still, both of them are extremely useful. The other thing that you cannot do, this cord, it can't be moving. This screws with the reading because it's a gas-filled cord. So that's one other thing to realize.
Okay guys, after seeing that, I hope you're excited about it. I hope you see how cool this tool can be and what it could kind of do for your business or allow you to do at a quicker rate. And I think you'll all agree that in our business or in any business, a lot of times efficiency wins. Being able to go out and do something faster, easier, wins. The zip level is going to take your measuring game and move it to a whole nother field. There are still times where obviously you're going to need a laser for long distance, maybe for some very wild multiple slope builds on how they're built. But for the most part, the zip level is going to save you a ton of time and get you really getting those measurements faster. Get your team getting those measurements faster. Get you more accurate estimates, because that's another huge thing. I did an estimate for someone and I did a quick wall estimate. Someone else estimated twice the amount of wall because they just overshot it. With the zip level, it was able to get me in there. I was able to bid what we needed to bid. Our prices were the same per square foot, but they were half because I only built half the wall because it's all it needed. So it's all these really cool things that build so much value with this product. We've loved using it. If you guys have used one, let me know what you think. If you haven't used one and you've got questions, leave that in the comments below as well. And if you got some value out of this, hit that subscribe button, guys. I'll talk to you soon. See ya.